time for the X and Y show with your host, Mr. Roosevelt. He talks about man topics, lady topics, and relationships. He talks about love, sex, and infidelities. He even gives good tips. There is no other show that compares to the X and Y show.
Oh yeah. Sit back, take your clothes off, and relax. It's time for the X and Y show, where real relationship issues are talked about and addressed. The only place on the planet that tackles the topics that everyone wants to talk about, but no one is brave enough to address. Nothing escapes X and Y, baby. Now, here's your host, Roosevelt Colbert.
Greetings. Welcome to another segment of the X and Y show. I'm your host, Roosevelt. It is Friday and it is wet in Miami. It's been raining all damn week and I hate rain. It's wet. And hopefully in other places, after you listen to my show, it'll be wet as well. Woo! Welcome to another segment. And tonight we have a real juicy topic, and I hope you enjoy it. I think you will. It's something that we all have to deal with. It's a question, but it's an obvious question with an obvious answer. So without further ado, I'll get right into it. Tonight's episode: who has the higher libido, men or women? Who has the higher libido, men or women? Basically, I'm asking the question, who has the higher sex drive? That's all I'm saying. And that question is obvious. It's men. It's not even close. Men have a higher sex drive than women. It's not even close. It's been that way for centuries, and it'll be that way until the end of time. And largely because, that's the way men are made up. Men are programmed to be sexual. And I'm not saying that women are not sexual, but they're not just as sexual as men. Women love sex too, don't get me wrong, but they're not going to worry about it if they don't get it for 5, 6, 7 years. Whereas a man, he's definitely not going to wait that long. And there's other reasons why, like I said, it's genetics, it's just inherited. Man is the conqueror, the warrior, and so the sex drive is higher. Women are more submissive. So their sex drive is not as high. Now, you always have some exceptions to the rule, nymphos and stuff like that. But for the most part, generally, women are not their sex drive is not as high as men. It's just not possible, Now, there's scientific reasons, testosterone against estrogen and all kind of shit like that. You can say whatever you want to say. You can give a scientific reason, whatever you want to say. But the fact remains is that men are more sexual. They have a greater velocity when it comes to trying to get sex than women do. And that's just the way it is. That's just the way it is. That's just the way we have been going since this earth began. And I believe way back in time when Adam ate that apple, he largely did it because he wanted some pussy. From, Eve probably threatened him, you don't eat this apple, I'm not giving you no more pussy. And, and we've been messed up ever since. So, men have always been weak when it comes to sex. A lot of men won't admit it. I admit it. I'm weak, especially if a woman is not shaving. Or I'm getting off the point here. But, it's just the way we are made up. We can't help it. That's just our programming. That's how we are wired. And women are not wired that way. Now, some reasons why I believe that it's like this. It's simple. Men think about sex more than women. Men are always thinking about sex. I know me personally, I think about sex when I'm going to bed. I think about sex when I get up. I think about sex during the day. I think about sex when I eat dinner, lunch, breakfast, taking a bath, taking a shit. It don't matter. I'm thinking about fucking. It don't matter what time of the day it is, what's going on. That's what I'm thinking about, especially if I see a woman that's very attractive. And most men think like this. Most men. Some men don't, and if they don't, then something's wrong with them. I'm just being real. If a man don't think about sex, there's something wrong with him. He needs counseling or some more testosterone injected in his ass. I don't know, but if a man don't think about sex, there's something wrong with him, either psychologically or sexually or something. He's not normal. Fuck that. But a woman, on the other hand, is not thinking about sex. She's thinking about flowers. She's thinking about dinner. She's thinking about picking up the kids. She's thinking about what she's going to plant in the yard over the weekend. She's thinking about what kind of dress she's going to wear to work. All other kind of bullshit but getting some dick. And she thinks about that. Women think about that. It's just not priority. It's just not number one like it is men, or 2 or 3. It's way down the list. If they don't get it, it's like whatever. They're not worrying about it. They're not going to lose any sleep. So that's one reason. Men think about sex a lot more than women. Thus, a result, their sex drive is higher. Now, another reason is men seek sex more avidly. Men always want to fuck. In a relationship, in a new relationship, men want some pussy early. They don't want to wait way down the road. They want to, first, second, third date, they want some pussy. Whereas women aren't even thinking about sex until way down the road, when they 10 or 11 dates or something. Now, like I said, you always have exceptions to the rule. There's some women want to fuck on the first night. Been there. But generally, women, don't want to give up the pussy that early. No, we're not gonna have sex. We have to get to know one another. Whereas a guy, your name is Ann. That's all I need to know. So men, they go after sex more aggressively than women. Men want to fuck. They don't want to bullshit. They don't want to bullshit around. First, second, third date, they want some pussy. Whereas a woman is willing to wait longer. Generally, like I said. Now, another reason men want more sex partners over a lifetime. To a man, it's a reward to fuck as many women as he can. It's like a trophy and shit. Whereas women want a lesser number of partners over a lifetime. Thus the societal pressure enters. Women who have multiple partners are basically considered to be a hoe. If you've been fucking a lot of guys, you're promiscuous, you're a hoe. Whereas a guy, you fucked a lot of women, you're a player. You're gigolo. You patting on the back for that shit. Whereas women, it's a different, outlook, a different perspective as far as society goes. Society see a woman who has fucked everybody as some negative, where a man is positive. So, that's another thing. Women tend to want lesser partners over a lifetime. Men try to get as many as they want, or as many as they can. Men, that's what they live for. The fuck. So, thus a higher sex drive, a higher libido. Women are not worried about numbers. They're worried about quality. We're about getting to know a guy, getting to know him better and see if they connect and all that kind of shit. Whereas a man just want a nut. That's it. It's very simple. It's not rocket science. Another reason men are sex fiends. A man is more likely to go out and get a woman and you know and do things with her, and uh, whereas a woman would be less susceptible to that. You know, you don't see women prostitutes, or you don't see women going after male prostitutes. Usually the other way around. Women are not definitely not going to pay for sex. Whereas men, that shit is happening every day, every minute. So it's just some things when it comes to sex, women are not going to do. And normally they don't have to. But men, on the other hand, will do that. They will do that. So that's the difference. Men are sex fiends. They will do whatever it takes to get a nut. Whereas women will not. They'll just wait. Will it take 1 year, 2 years, 3, 4, 5, 6 years? Whatever. They're not worried about this shit. So that's another reason. Men are sex fiends. Another reason, women's sexual turn-ons are more complicated than men's. And what I mean by that, usually most men have a preference and they roll with it. Example, most men like a woman with big titties, a nice ass, and if it deviates a little bit, if she don't have size F titties, she has B titties, a man, they still get the pussy. She all right. Whereas a woman, if she wants someone 6'5" and blue eyes and no facial hair, or just a mustache, or no chest hair, or just no hair in the back, or uh, hazel eyes, a perfect white teeth, you heard all that kind of bullshit that women ask for when they look for a potential mate or potential guy who they want to fuck. They have all these bullshit criteria when it comes to that. And if they don't get it, then they're not settling. They're not. If he's not 6'5", they want someone 6'5" with blue eyes or hazel eyes, no facial hair. If he's not that, they don't want him. They'll wait. They won't settle. Now, again, there are exceptions to the rule, especially when a woman starts to get a little older. A lot of that bullshit goes out the window. 6'5", and a lot of times a motherfucker come along, he 5'4". Yeah. Come on. That biological clock start ticking. A lot of that bullshit go out the window. But when women are in their young and they're in their prime, they're full of shit. So a lot of times they want this particular guy who they fantasize about, and they're not deviating from that. If they don't get it, then they don't want nothing. Whereas a man, if he wants big titties and a nice ass, but if it don't work out that way, and if it's just average titties and average ass, man, like, come on, we'll roll with it. Come on, you all right? We'll make a compromise. Well, as a woman, we'll not. So that's another reason why the sexual libido is the result of the sexual libido or sexual desire is higher in a man than it is in a woman. I would say another reason, I think personally, that sex drives are also influenced by social and culture factors. And what I mean by that, I think that, in my opinion, a woman that is very involved in, let's say, church, she is likely to have less likely to have permissive attitudes about sex. Translation: if a woman is heavily involved in church, she's probably not a freak in the bed. And like I said again, there are exceptions to the rule, and everybody's not the same. I'm speaking of a generalized number of women, and this is my opinion as well. I think women that are very involved in church are not freaks when it comes to sex. They're very conservative. So that's something that could also have a bearing on a woman's sex drive, influenced by the social and the cultural and religious factors. Whereas men who are very involved in church, I don't think they care. I think they're still willing to do the dirty deed and willing to be very experimental in their sex lives. Whereas women are not if they're very religious. That's just my opinion. You know, so you can take it as you want, but I really believe that. Another thing that might hinder a woman's sexual libido is they're very heavily influenced by the attitudes of their friends and opinions of their friends. Meaning women really care about what their friends say about them. So they don't want to go to their friends and say, yeah, I was with Harry last night and I sucked his dick and swallowed. And they don't want their friends to say, ew, you do that for your husband? Or you do that for your boyfriend? Oh my goodness. Oh, you're a hoe. Oh my goodness, you're very free. And they say all this kind of bullshit. And truth be told, your friends, a woman's friends are probably doing a lot worse. Or not worse, but a lot more freaky things than you are. So I don't know why women always let their friends influence them. Women are full of shit. And a lot of times they talk shit and really behind closed doors, they're doing things a lot more freaky than the things that they're condemning you for. So women, if you're being conservative because of what your friends might say or think about you, I would think twice because they're probably doing a lot more freaky shit than you are. They're just smart enough not to open their damn mouth to you about it. So I think that that's something that also hinders a woman's sex drive. They're worried about what their friends think. They're worried about what their friends say. Whereas a man could give a fuck about what his friends say. But a man would not tell his fellas about their wife and how they fuck and stuff like that. A man is not going to do that. Only women do that silly shit. A man won't even tell about his girlfriend if he really cares about her. Now, if she's just a freak he getting a nut from, yeah, he'll tell his boys. But if she's a girl that, going towards the fiance level, no. Not going to tell his boys my girl got some good pussy. That don't even sound right. Only women do that dumb shit. Tell their friends about their sex lives with their husbands and boyfriends and all kind of shit when it's really none of your friends' damn business. So anyway. Another reason I believe is, women's libidos seem to be less responsive to drugs. Meaning that normally when a guy can't get his dick up, he can take a blue pill and have a hard on for 4 or 5 hours, whatever it is. I don't know. I don't take that shit. So you guys know out there, if you get a good Viagra pill, how long it lasts, it varies from man to man. They can have a hard on and get some pussy for 4 or 5 hours straight. Whereas a woman cannot simply take a pill. Now there's stuff out there, but there's really nothing really concrete that a woman can take and be like, turn into a nympho or some shit. Wouldn't that be great if a woman could take a pill and turn into a fucking nympho? She goes from a level 1 when it comes to sex to a damn 10 in like 6 minutes or something. Man, those pills will sell for $100 a pill. And the supply couldn't keep up with it. If you can give a woman a pill that take her from a normal woman to a freak in less than 30 minutes, oh my goodness. Be like, forget weed and coke and all that other bullshit. Give me 10 of those purple pills then. Shit. So I can take home to my girl. So, women are not wired that way. They don't think about sex like we do. They like sex. Don't get me wrong. Women love sex. They do. Just not as much as a man. And there's nothing as far as in the pharmaceutical field that could help women increase their libido. So as a result, that's just something that you have to deal with. A woman, just their sex drive is not high. that's something you have to deal with. And it's unfortunate that you should find out about this before you get married. But if you're a Christian and you're trying to do the right thing, like myself, you're not fornicating. You're trying not to have sex before you get married. So there's no way to really test out what you're getting. You can't really test the model, the car. All you do is seeing it on the lot, you buy it, and then you drive it home, and you don't really know about it until you take it on the road. Whereas if you was fucking, you can test drive it and see if you really want to buy that car. Translation, if you're fucking, you can really see if that woman is compatible with you, meaning her sex drive is high enough to the level that you desire. Now, if you marry someone, if you're in a relationship with someone and they don't have the adequate sex drive that you would desire, then you just break off the relationship and be the end of it. But if you're married, it's a little more tricky. You can't divorce, or you shouldn't divorce someone because they're not giving you enough pussy. I mean, you should just do that. I mean, everybody be getting divorced. So that's something you can't do, something you shouldn't do. That's something that you definitely have to work on as a couple, to where, if her level of sexual desire is not as high as yours, if you want her to be a 10 and she's a 2, or maybe you can go through some counseling or something of that nature, or therapy or something like that, to get her up to a 5 or 6 maybe. She might never be a 10, but if you can get her from a 2 to a 5 or 6, then that's better than nothing. So anyway, I believe another reason why the sexual desire of men is higher, because men just want to nut. They just want to feel good. They want to come and feel good, and they want to nut, and they want to feel good, and they want to come, and they want to feel good. It's all about feeling good. That's what men want to do. Whereas women, they want to feel good. Women want to nut too. But women like to use sex as a bartering tool. They like to do it, use sex for gains, shit they want. Well, you didn't do this. You didn't buy me this. They don't want to give no pussy for a month or two, which is bullshit. Ladies, you need to stop that shit. Don't you know that you keep on withholding pussy from your husband or your boyfriend? He will find it somewhere else. He will find it somewhere else. He will find a woman that is more than willing to give him all the pussy that he wants. When a woman finds out, you women make it easy. You make it real easy for a man to step out when you start neglecting him on the pussy. Because when a woman finds out that your man is not getting enough pussy, oh, that's easy. And it doesn't take a real woman to really, it doesn't take her long to realize that. Oh, this guy just needs some pussy. And he's not getting his dick sucked? Oh my goodness, I got something for his ass. Next thing you know, you don't see your man like you used to. You don't see your boyfriend like you used to. You don't see your husband like you used to. He's always out. He's slipping away. He don't want to fuck you anymore because he's fucking somebody else. That's your fault. That's your fault, because you didn't give him the pussy that he needed. So he was, a man's weak. He'll step out and get pussy from somebody else who's more than willing. A side chick, a side fling, infidelity, whatever you want to call it. Ladies, you make that possible. Now, I'm not saying, some of you women out there saying, well, I gave my husband all the pussy, or gave my boyfriend all the pussy he wanted, and he still cheated on me. Well, like I said, there's always exceptions to the rule. Always. But for the most part, if you give your man pussy what he needs, he won't step out. Really, he won't. Or I would say the chances of him doing so is greatly diminished. And women, I know sometimes you don't want to get all in it. Like me, if you don't want to get all in it and make love, You don't have to look at me. Turn your ass over. That's all you have to do. You don't have to look at me. You don't have to look at me in my eyes and all that kind of shit. Just turn around. That's all you got to do for me. And I'll be satisfied. And I'll be over in a little while and then you can go on to sleep. But just let me get mine. That's what you have to do, ladies. A lot of times you don't feel like you got to. Women have a lot of excuses when it comes to fucking. Always got an excuse. I got a headache. I'm on my period. That's a very popular one. I'm on my period. I'm about to start my period. I just got off my period. Oh, I don't feel good. I feel nauseous. I'm tired. It's always some excuse when it comes to giving up some pussy. Well, all I got to say to that, you better stop. You better stop. You don't have to make love. Just turn around, turn over, let him get his, go on to sleep. He's satisfied. You can go to sleep now. You're both satisfied. And he's less likely to step out. Your sexual desire is not as high. That's okay. If your husband is higher than yours, that's okay. Just let him get his, and it shouldn't be a problem. What's wrong with that? You're married or you're in a relationship. You should let your boyfriend or your husband be pleased to the level that they're desire to be pleased at. That's what a relationship is all about. Now, let me back up a little bit. Now, if you're in a Christian relationship, you should not be having sex. You should not be having sex. If you are real about it, you shouldn't be having sex. But if you are having sex, then if your boyfriend wants sex and you don't feel like it, then it's your duty to let him get his. Let him get his. And vice versa. But trust me, ladies, if your man tired and he been working 20 hours and he tired and you want to give him some pussy, trust me, he gonna find some energy to get. He gonna find some energy to get some pussy. So a woman don't have to worry about a man, turning out his mans. Now, like I said, there are always exceptions to the rule, but for general amount of public in the male population, a man is not going to turn out no pussy. And if he does, there's something wrong with him. He needs therapy. Something wrong with his ass. He's not normal. So anyway, stop having excuses, ladies. Let your man get his for a happier relationship or a happier marriage. Women, your sexual desire, your libido will never be as high as a man. Never. You're just not made up that way. You're not wired that way. You're not programmed that way. We're genetically programmed that way since the beginning of time to be sexually active, to be sexually peaked, to be sexual fiends. We want pussy all the time. We think about it. We live it. We breathe it. We drink it. We eat it. That's what a man is. That's what a man thinks about all the time. Women, you're just not made up that way. But you should understand that your man is. So you should accommodate him. Or do your best to do so. Otherwise, someone else will. So, I ask the question again. Who has the higher libido, men or women? It's an easy question. It's not even close. Men has the higher libido. They have the higher sexual desire. So don't feel bad, women, when your man always want to fuck and you always don't, or make excuses when you don't. Don't feel bad. You're just not made up that way. You're not wired that way. Generally. Now, there's some nymphos out there that like to fuck a lot. But for the most part, women are just not made up that way. It's not their fault. It's just the way it is. It's just nature. It's just X and Y. So the libido, ladies, will never be as high as your man's, but accommodate him. Accommodate him. let him be satisfied. You know, that's your duty as his woman. That's your duty as his lover. That's your duty as his wife. That's your duty as his mate. Do your duty. Hope you enjoyed tonight's segment of the X and Y Show. I hope you all remember that I've just joined a new network called the Power Media Network. It's a very good network with a lot of great podcasts. Check it out, powermedianetwork.com. There's some great podcasts on there. Take a listen. Some of them are very good, and I think you enjoy them just like you enjoy my show. So be sure to check out the powermedianetwork.com and pick out some more podcasts that you'll love and cherish just like the X and Y Show. Also remember that the X and Y Show is available on a wide array of different platforms. I'm available on Spreaker, that's what I broadcast from, and I'm also on iTunes, TuneIn, Blueberry, Google Play as well. I think I forgot one. Oh, Stitcher as well. So be sure to pick one of those out that's your favorite and subscribe and like my show so I can be very happy the next day. Also, I'm a part of social media. I'm on Tumblr, I'm on Twitter, I'm on Facebook, and I am on Instagram. So be sure to follow me on those to be updated with anything coming down the pipe in the future. You can find all of that, my social media and my different platforms on my website, which is www.thexyshow.com. Again, that's www.thexyshow.com. You find everything on there. You can also find the X and Y store, which you can buy a t-shirt or coffee mug or iPhone or Android cover. Shit in there. Check it out. You'll love it. Take a picture, send it to me, and I'll post it on my IG account to let everyone know that you're a true X and Wire. Also, there's a contact form to contact me and let me know how you're enjoying the show, any recommendations, any shows you would like to hear, or you just like to say hello. There's a contact form for that. Be sure to do that as well. And with that being said, I will say sayonara until next week, and I want you to always remember, you cannot have love without X and Y. See you next week. Later.
You've been listening to The X and Y Show with your host, Roosevelt Colbert, the place where real relationship issues are talked about and addressed. Join us next time. You can now put your clothes back on. Or not.